Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Crazy hyena boy nearly took a bite out of me. No way I could have explained that to Dana.
You're not going out now.
The night is young and so am I.
I'd think a good night's rest might be more beneficial.
Like you said, who sleeps anymore?
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Jeff. Hi.
Hey, Tom. Tom, it's me, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. No, I know. The internet's Jeff May. Yeah.
Yeah, it's me. It's
Oh, unreal. Oh, wow.
You're never going to guess what time it is.
No, I won't.
You won't.
Do you have to be somewhere?
I mean, in a way.
Huh.
In a way, I have to be right here. I have to be right here.
Oh, what luck, because you are here.
And this is silly. Because I dropped some hints.
Oh, yeah? You did?
In this whole thing, but it's actually time for another episode of Tom the Jeff Watch. Blah, blah.
What a fool I've been. Of course it is. Of course it's that time.
What a fool to believe. Swayze, that one. Tom, this is a very special episode.
Yeah. It's a very special pair of episodes.
It is, yeah. Well, we are finishing up our Batman Beyond. Our official Batman Beyond coverage is being finished up with Batman Beyond: The Return of the Joker in a very special 2-part podcast extravaganza.
It was too much to cram into a single episode.
No, and I don't want to do a 3-hour podcast about this. I want to do 2 1.5-hour podcasts about this. Because there's a lot to talk about on this, which, this is a heads up, some of you are listening to this for free. This is your first episode, some of you.
You lucky ducks. There is so much. We've been doing the show for, 15 years now.
30 years. It's 30 years, yeah.
30 years now.
Before there was enough Batman to cover. We were just waiting.
Yeah.
There was just some episodes where us being like, is there going to be like a thing soon? 1989 was huge for us. That being said, if you like this episode, which you're going to,
yeah, there's no doubt about it.
To the Gamefully Unemployed Patreon, Tom, tell them all about it.
Oh man, if you guys and gals and people and folks head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed, you can become a member. You can become a patron for $5 a month. You'll get every single episode of this show we've ever recorded, including several other shows that are exclusive to the Patreon. So get on it.
Yeah, it's an impressive and yet not daunting task to go through the old episodes.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to check those out. And we did 3 seasons of Batman Beyond. And now we are dealing with the incredible film, The Return of the Joker, available on HBO Max. HBO Max did us the kindness of not giving us that censored PG version.
You'll have to.
We got in the beginning.
You're going to have to walk me through this whole debacle, because if you're not new and you have been following our Batman Beyond coverage, you'll know that this is my first time ever watching Batman Beyond.
Sure is.
So this is my first time ever watching Return of the Joker, and I hadn't read anything about it beforehand. So I didn't know anything about this weird censoring controversy around the film, sort of toning down its more violent, even though the movie never goes like completely R-rated. There are some intense moments that were apparently softened, I guess, for its initial release.
A child shoots a man.
A child shoots a man in the heart, yeah.
And a tortured child. An imprisoned and tortured child murders a man on screen.
And probably mutilated child. Like, his face didn't just become that.
Yeah, for sure. So, in that regard, yeah, there is a censored PG version, of course, because this is a cartoon designed to sell toys.
Yeah.
But in the long run, of course, Paul Dini wrote one hell of a dark script.
Yeah.
And boy did he. And we're gonna dive into that right now with the first half of Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. And again, for the second half, we'll see you next week over on the Patreon. Tom.
Mm-hmm. Jeff.
It starts with our favorite group of literal clowns, The Jokers.
Oh man, the Jokers, the street level supervillain gang that are just in the show to get embarrassed.
I'm going. A fun part about this though is, boy, do we have a fantastic voice team.
They really upped their game. Like we kind of saw like the same 4 Jokers get their asses beat for 3 seasons of Batman Beyond, and now the Jokers in Return of the Joker have sort of stepped up their game. They're splicing now. They got a hyena boy. That's pretty chill.
Yeah, voiced by Frank Welker, I believe.
Oh yeah, no, he's 100% just doing his fidget voice from Great Mouse Detective. Yeah, you guys know the one, the Stitch voice.
Yeah, he's stitching. We meet Bonk, who is Henry Goddamn Rollins.
It sure is, and I'll tell you the roller coaster of emotions I experienced when I saw Henry Rollins' name in the opening credits, because at first I thought, oh boy, Mad Stan is going to be in this movie. And no, he's just going to play a guy named Bonk who gets murdered very quickly.
Boy, let me tell you, Mad Stan would have been a great addition to this. We need our own Mad Stan.
We do. We need the Batman Beyond: The Return of Mad Stan.
Yeah, I mean
That's what we need. Yeah. Blow it up.
So he plays Bonk. We meet Ghoul, who is voiced by Michael Rosenbaum, doing an inexplicably wild Christopher Walken impression.
I know, it was so over the top, or maybe not over the top, but just so not subtle that it didn't immediately sink in. Like, it took a couple of scenes for me to realize, oh shit, he's just doing a Chris Walken voice.
It's jarring.
Yeah.
Because when he gets more than like half a line of dialogue, you're like, oh, he's going for it.
He's doing a thing.
Looks like we're doing this.
It's like, I can picture him, like, he probably still had his car keys in his hand when he was recording these lines.
Yeah.
I'm just going to bang out some Chris Walken, bing, bang, boom, all right?
And then, of course, Dee Dee, who was actually the name of a pair of twins, is Melissa Joan Hart.
Yeah.
Who has gone deeply off the deep end into Christianity since we last heard from her.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, at least in this one, she's playing twin Harleys.
She sure is. So the Jokers are they're doing a raid on Gotham Shipping, and what they're doing is they're stealing electronic technology, and they're doing it with these forklifts. And we meet Bonk, and Bonk is best described as, you shouldn't be in this gang.
No, Bonk shouldn't be entrusted with any activity that's not bonking people.
Yeah, Bonk.
He's very easily distracted.
He's a short fuse muscle, which you don't want. You want a tempered muscle.
Yeah.
So Bonk is driving the forklift, not good at it. And it is important to note again that he is absolutely voiced by Henry Rollins.
Yeah, 100%. Henry Rollins, angry clown man, driving a future forklift.
Henry Rollins at an 8. And if this is your first time here, Mad Stan is Henry Rollins at a 10.
Yeah.
So we get a slightly muted Henry Rollins, which is more aggressive than anybody else in this show.
Right. It's like it's not a simmer, it's like a low boil Henry Rollins.
Yeah. It's a medium high. Dee Dee, of course, remains Melissa Joan Hart. The robbery is interrupted, obviously. Batman shows up. A fight ensues, and Batman starts with his signature calling card, which is an absolutely devastating punch to the gut to everyone.
Yeah, he cripples a lot of people straight out of the gate.
Yeah, everyone. One of the things that they edited from the PG to the PG-13 is the amount of violence that Wolf does on one of the guards.
Oh, the hyena boy.
Yeah. So Wolf, is a spliced hyena guy who got splicing. By the way, is a genetic modification, and usually it's mostly aesthetic, or like you get like, oh look, you have vestigial wings.
Yeah, they gave Ice-T bull horns in one episode.
Yeah. Wolf is just like mostly a hyena.
He's just werewolf now. He's Wolf Boy.
Yeah. It's really intense. But yeah, on one of the guards, he just slashes the shit out of him, and I think they edited it down to just one slash in the PG version.
Yeah, there are several savage beatings in this movie.
Absolutely.
They really went, like, the animation was never bad on Batman Beyond, but they really went above and beyond for this movie. It looks great.
It's probably the most gorgeous animated Batman we've seen, maybe I hate to say it, but Batman Ninja
Yeah, I mean, yeah. No,
was beautiful, even though it's
I loved our time with that film.
Yeah, it's wrong. It's a wrong movie.
Yeah, sure.
I loved it.
But yeah, and the animation really sings in the sequences when Batman is beating the brakes off of people.
Yeah, when Batman is physically violating people's harm, like it's just so good. So Wolf starts slashing the shit out of him a little bit, and then Dee Dee, one of the Dee Dee twins, tases him directly in the heart, and they take turns kicking the ever-living shit out of him.
Well, they do a thing first where they cower from him, so Terry is like, I'm not going to ninja kick these ladies, and then they tase his balls off and start kicking his ass, and it's very funny.
Him. There's something to be said in the Batman animated universe that they want people to know that if you have a taser, go for the heart. Nobody isn't tased in the heart ever on this show.
The MVP of being tased in the heart, of course, is Alfred in one of the Hardak episodes, I believe.
He gets shot with like a close-up glue gun taser right in the heart.
Yeah. So if you're just now joining the show, go back and find that one, because I used that clip as one of the either introductory or exit clips for the episode. Just Alfred shitting his pants.
Just filling a diaper with rage pain.
Getting his heart stopped with a taser. So it's a recurring theme in the Dee Dee verse is what we're saying.
Yeah, by essentially a robot Liz Taylor.
Yes,
It's quite brutal.
Yeah.
So when Dee Dee is kicking the shit out of Batman, it's hard to describe just how it looks like a cut scene in a fighting game.
Yeah.
How good they're beating him. Like they just work they're like luchadors.
They're like when somebody is playing you in Tekken and they have the 10-hit combo memorized, like that's just how well it's flowing, that they're just beating his absolute ass.
Yeah.
One of them, I can't remember. It's this point. I think it's this point where one of them grabs him by the ears and
knees him directly in the
Muay
face.
Thai knees him in the face.
Yeah, and then they get around, hold him while the other one place kicks him in the face.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's so good. So they basically escape on their forklifts, and then obviously Batman chases them and pursues them over the skies of Gotham. Bonk is like, fuck this. And he detaches from the equipment to try to kill Batman. He just wants to kill Batman. Again, he's not a team player.
He's a bad hire, because the piece of equipment they're stealing has to have 3 future forklifts hold it. So when Bonk detaches his forklift to go chase after Batman, the other 2 immediately start plummeting toward the earth because they can't hold this piece of equipment they're stealing. Yeah. They're like, very
what the
funny,
fuck, man.
Yeah. It's like it's like if 3 guys were lifting a piano and one of them abruptly runs off to try to chase a cat.
To fight the mailman, yeah.
Yeah, fight the mailman, yeah.
It's like, dude, we are carrying this. A Dee Dee falls, Batman catches her. Their whole plan is understandably going to hit.
Yeah.
Like, Batman eventually... Bonk finally gets, he starts choking, like a 2-handed choke on Batman. Not the first or the last time it's going to happen to Terry.
You know what? It's an oldie but goodie. It works.
And then he's like, he's like, what? What, man? And he just
What'd you say to me?
And then, what'd you say to me, man? And Terry's like, a flagpole is about to kill you.
You're about to be knocked in half by a flagpole.
Yeah. You're about to witness the strength of street poles. And that he Bonk holds on to it, obviously, but the craft, his thing falls down, crashes. All the equipment crashes to the ground. Chucko jumps over. Now, Chucko might be my favorite.
I think we forgot about him. We didn't mention him up top.
He doesn't really do much, but Chucko is like the gun guy. Like, Chucko is very much like whenever you see artillery coming out, he's that guy.
Yeah, he looks like Big Van Vader dressed up for like the Howdy Doody show.
Well, yeah, he's wearing like a tutu. He's wearing like a pink singlet and then just like a clown mask.
Yeah. He's a big guy. He looks like he pulls tractors.
Yeah, he definitely has strongman vibes. But he also is smart enough to retrieve the memory chip and then run away before it, blows up. Everything's trash. There's fires everywhere. And Terry just goes,
Another successful night of crime stopping for Terry.
I will tell you that collateral damage has no longer become a problem for Terry. He does not worry about it in the slightest.
No.
Like, he is just like, don't care. Like, at one point in time, there's probably like a more than 9/11 amount of damage is going to happen to Gotham City.
Yes. Accurate.
And we never really addressed that. Collateral damage is never addressed in this
in
this movie.
Brief spoilers for, I guess, the second part 2 of this of our coverage of this movie. Joker gets a satellite laser. Mm-hmm. And he does not exercise chill when using it. Like
so, not a lot of aim on it.
It's real imprecise when it's in the Joker's hands.
Yeah, more broadsword than scalpel in this situation. So now we have our credits, and the best way to describe the opening credits music is porny jazz that gradually develops to the Batman Beyond music.
Yeah.
Like it starts one way.
I still really, both ironically and unironically, love like the acid rock techno guitars that are the Batman Beyond score.
Yeah.
It
feels like Buckethead's doing it or something.
Right. Like, it feels simultaneously cool and uncool, and I love it so much.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to describe anything from the year 2000.
Yeah, exactly.
It's simultaneously cool and uncool. You hear a song from that time and you're like, oh yeah, this is great. And then you think about what you were doing when you were listening to it and you're like, it's not that great.
Yeah, it's not that great.
It's kind of rough. So now it cuts to the Batcave, and we have another scene that was re-added back in the uncensored version, which is Bruce decapitating a Two-Face statue with a batarang.
It is funny that that's the one he decapitates.
It's a weird choice. I feel like he's the most of a physical threat to Batman and still is a person.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was wondering, like, because they're all statues that Batman just has in his Batcave. So, like, how often does he cut their limbs off and then fix them?
Yeah. Is this like a Madame Tussauds thing where it's just like puts it back on because it's wax?
Yeah. It's like, all right. I'll cut your head off tomorrow, Harvey.
Harvey's head.
No. It rolls off into the bone pit and he makes Terry go get it.
Yeah, you hear a bunch of like chattering bones in there.
You hear that sound? That's all the orphan teeth that are down there.
Turn on your wax filter and only use that while you're down there.
Don't look at anything else.
Anything else. He smiles at Ace and he's like, still got it. And then Terry pulls in and he goes, how'd it go with the Jokers? And it's like, Bruce, you know exactly how it went with the Jokers. Don't be coy.
Yeah, you were watching.
You were always watching.
Yeah, you're surveilling. You see what mine eyes see while I'm wearing this costume.
Yeah, you're no fool. And Terry's like, yeah, hey, did you notice that they're stealing a lot of advanced technology and Jokers are generally fucking stupid?
Right, they're real street level idiots. Like, they bring hoses into Cheesy Dan's to spray people. They don't steal government level science crap.
Yeah, they're wallet thieves. They're not high-tech espionage thieves. And Bruce is just like, well, it's probably corporate espionage.
Yeah, he's like, they're probably fencing it. Corporate espionage is a high-dollar game. And it's like, Bruce, you don't feel like this is maybe worth looking into, that they're suddenly stealing this kind of shit?
Yeah, that's Terry's just like, no, but maybe the thing I said is probably better.
Yeah. Bruce...
I think he's purposely dismissive of Terry.
In a lot of ways, certainly in this movie. It's like, I just... I was like, Terry finally asks Bruce, like, Bruce, are you, is your age finally getting to you? Is the dementia setting in? Or are you fucking with me?
Yeah, what is happening here? And then Terry's just like, well, I guess I'm just going to have to wait for them to make their next move. And then Terry's, the news comes on and basically Wayne Enterprises has announced that Bruce is returning to the active leadership role, to the disappointment of acting operations manager. and corporate rival Jordan Price, who's voiced, of course, by Mark Hamill. Because when you get Mark Hamill on a cartoon, especially a mystery involving him, you got to throw a red herring at you.
That was a really good red herring. I will not lie.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's
that's the whole point of it, for sure.
Yeah. And he kind of talks shit on Bruce on camera.
Kinda. He absolutely talks shit on Bruce on camera.
He's like, oh,
he's a real catty bitch. Let's just say what it is.
And then he hopes Mr. Wayne is, quote, up to the challenge.
Yeah.
And then Terry's like, man, it seemed a little off. And then Bruce just goes, yeah, my return torpedoes any chances he had of succession.
It's like, yeah, my fucking me barreling back in and seizing control of the company really derailed his career. So I've just made a very powerful enemy.
A slightly less powerful than I am enemy.
Yeah, he's real casual about it too.
Yeah, and then Terry's like, so you're going to keep him around? And he goes, if he'll stay on my terms. I've worked long and hard to regain control of my family's company. He can get with that or start emailing his resume.
Right. It's like at this point, Terry has to be like, Bruce, are you trying to create supervillains?
Yeah. This is like a death thing, right? How many of your partners and employees have tried to kill you in the past year, Bruce?
Yeah. You don't think that what's the common factor among all of them?
Yeah. And then Terry kind of like, we show that he's kind of like got like a wolf bit him earlier. And he's like, oh, that kind of sucked. And he's just like, yeah, anyway, it would be tough to explain to Dana. All right, I'm going on a date. And Bruce is like, maybe you should rest. And Terry's like, maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Maybe I need a life, Bruce.
Yeah, they had this back and forth where like Terry asked him a similar question where he's like, well, I thought you were going to like, does that mean you're going to stop doing Batman stuff now that you're taking back over Wayne Enterprises? And he's like, no, who needs sleep anymore? And then Terry kind of throws that back at him. Yeah. When he's like, you should go home and rest. And Terry's like, fuck you.
How about you fuck yourself right off?
Yeah,
How about that?
I'm going to go try to have a life.
Yeah. So he goes to what I can only describe as the most dangerous dance club I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Not a railing in sight.
No, and there's a giant lava lamp suspended over the dance floor.
This is like if MC Escher designed a disco. This is what it would be.
It's like Hieronymus Bosch designed a disco.
So they're at the club and he's trying to dance. He's trying to stay awake, but he just can't. He looks like he's fucking rolling.
Right. He looks like he is so high, he can't keep his eyes open.
Yeah. No, I was watching this. I'm like, no, I think he's just rolling.
Yeah.
Like his eyes are half open.
I think maybe he just took some Molly. He's going to be fine.
Yeah. He says, Dana's like talking shit on the squib that Blade is with.
See, what was funny is I couldn't tell if I thought she said squid at first, which if you grew up in a Navy town is a derogatory term for a sailor, like an enlisted guy. So I thought she was like, oh, I guess Dana doesn't like Navy dudes.
Dana hates the Navy.
Yeah.
And then she's like, my hair's on fire. And he's like, you look great. And he's some other girl.
He's talking to a different girl. Yeah.
Like a white girl with freckles. Like not even a mistake.
Right. A white girl with freckles and short blonde hair. It's like basically the complete opposite of his girlfriend.
Yeah. He basically complimented Denise the Menace. So at first she's annoyed, but finally she pulls him off and she's just like, coffee and leave the pot. So then the Jokers return to their lair at the abandoned Jolly Jack candy factory. Now, Tom, this is where the movie gets, I mean, it's under control, but it's out of control.
Yeah, this is where it really flies off the handle. And also, quick note, Gotham, in its hubris after, 40 years of no Joker, they're just allowing Jolly Jack candy buildings to remain standing.
They're safe.
You guys are asking for it.
Yeah. Yeah. We need that's a whole gang of them showed up.
Yeah.
So basically they're like, oh, we couldn't get it, but we have the memory chip. And we see that they have a leader in the silhouette, but it is clearly the Joker.
Yeah,
and they do like a reveal after the fact, and we're like, no, we knew that.
We knew that. I mean, the movie's called Return of the Joker. He's on the poster, but sure, it's storytelling. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the Joker smashes the chip and he starts calling them incompetent. And Bonk is like, hey, fuck you, man. He's like, we don't need to do with this guy having to steal all this shit, but no money. And he's like, never even explained what he plans to do with all this shit.
I want out.
Over, old man.
Yeah.
Even if you are who you say you are. And I think you're a fake. And the Joker's kind of like all look at the Joker like weird. And he's like, I want out. And you see him pull a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, man, I'm sorry, man. It's fine. And leader. The guy pulls the trigger and it's the bang flag. And they're like, oh, thank God. And then he pulls it again and it shoots the flag into his fucking chest like a dart.
Yeah, it harpoons him in the heart with a bang flag.
And he just drops dead. And then gets that whole like the rictus grin. So it's like, this is where, like, Tom, I've seen this before and I still went, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this is, I believe I also texted you. I was like, okay, so a guy just got shot in the heart with a Smilex dart.
Yeah, you sure did. They are not fucking around on this.
Nope. They want you to know the Joker's back.
Yeah, so they do the big reveal that it's the Joker in like a kind of like a tight purple spandexy kind of outfit and green slicked back hair. He's dressed like Sprockets.
Yeah, he's dressed like a Blade villain.
Yeah. No eyebrows, which is interesting, but that's, you know, it's a choice. And then he makes everybody keep saying, we're with you. And then he forces them all to take the allegiance of we're with you. And then he goes, bonk. Oh, right. He's dead.
That's right. I shot him through his heart.
And then Ghoul's like, I better go on the net and look for places to get a new piece of equipment. And then
you're going to go there. Security is going to be tight.
Yeah, right. Dee Dee, take out the trash. And he's talking about Bonk's dead ass.
Drag his corpse outside is what he meant to say.
Yeah. And then Joker's like, ooh, that one will be fun. And he's like, it seems like the security would be very tight.
I don't know. It seems like maybe we should try to find this at a different location.
Anywhere else. Anyway, so it comes to Bruce and Terry at a gala, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like Bruce's like return gala.
Yeah, he's throwing himself a party to announce his return to the company. Where it's like, again, Bruce, are you trying to make a supervillain out of this guy?
Yeah. Well, he does not show up, and Bruce is like, yeah, that's no surprise.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Am I right, Terry? Yeah, and Terry's like, Bruce, I gotta say.
Are you accepting notes, Bruce?
If this guy shows up with a jetpack and grenades, it's kind of on you.
Yeah, it's going to be a medium. If he's wearing face paint.
If he Green Goblins the shit out of this place, you own a little bit of that.
I'm out this company.
Out, am I?
So then immediately during the speech, there's like a hysterical laughter and Wolf jumps into the crowd. And Terry immediately runs and tries to kick him, but he jumps right over.
Right. Like Terry does not attempt to disguise the fact that he's Batman. He's like immediately throws a leg sweep in his tuxedo at this Wolfman.
When I was watching that, I'm like, I guess would we like sort of have that Terry is his bodyguard kind of a vibe, or no? All right.
I don't know. But, they keep just describing him as like Bruce's assistant or valet.
Yeah. It's very funny to me that like nobody respects Wolf.
Even though he's a werewolf,
he's like not scary because like Bruce just stares him down.
Bruce,
like, he like lands in front of Bruce and Bruce is just like, the fuck you want?
Bruce whips his ass with his cane, which like we
sure
always
does.
Suspected has a fucking metal rod in the middle of it.
Yeah, a corked cane
for beating werewolves' asses. It turns out, like he never got over his run-in with Milo.
Yeah, while that distraction is happening, Chucko and Ghoul are gassing the security downstairs and stealing the tech.
Yeah, not a bad plan.
Yeah, Bruce, as you said, easily beats the absolute Christ out of Wolf with his cane.
I know.
And Terry's like, you good? And Bruce is like, I'm clearly fine.
Yeah,
Go suit up.
I beat this Wolfman so hard he forgot things. So yeah I'm doing all right.
But then the Didi twins arrive and beat his ass a little.
Yeah, they sure do.
And he's on the ground, and Joker makes an entrance, and Bruce is horrified.
Yeah.
And he's like, it can't be. And he's like, your old eyes don't deceive you, Brucey. After all, who would know me better than you? And it's like, fuck, man. Like, this is really well written.
I'm dressed like I'm in the Matrix, Brucey.
Yeah, look at me. Oh, man. So, Chucko and Ghoul leave. And Terry shows up as Batman, but, you know, he's occupied with Wolf. Joker and Didi board a hovercraft. Terry goes after him, but Joker just basically sets off a series of explosives.
Right, because Joker is gonna Joker.
Yeah,
like he's not just gonna leave. There's gonna be bombs and probably gas.
Right, kind of a lot.
Yeah.
So what was I gonna say? Batman has to save the people.
He has to save people instead of chasing Joker.
Yeah, and Bruce is just like kind of staring up. Now, back in the car ride home, Bruce is basically kind of like, "No, you did the right thing to save the people," and he's like, "Yeah, man, he seemed pretty spy for someone who should be like in his 80s,
mid-80s."
And he's like, "So what do you think? Clone, robot, suspended animation due to being frozen in a block of ice?" Bruce just goes, "Shut up and drive."
Right. Bruce is such a fucking prick about a situation that clearly and urgently needs to be explained.
Yeah.
It's like, Bruce, what the fuck is going on? Why is Joker back? Why do you look like you've seen a ghost? And Bruce is just like, fucking keep your mouth shut. Let's go. Yeah. I need to chop some more heads off my dummies.
So now we get an introduction to something that we weren't expecting, which is Tim Drake looking very much like Jack Kirby, by the way.
Do we know he's Tim Drake in this scene? Because I didn't until later. Like, it's kind of a reveal that he is.
Yeah, not really, but there's a guy that's watching TV, and he's, you know, what, like 55 or
he's maybe
like that.
60, and like he's clearly horrified. His wife's like, what's wrong? And then in the next scene after this, he goes to visit Commissioner Barbara Gordon. So clearly we know he's somebody. We just don't know exactly who he is, but we learn shortly thereafter that he's Tim Drake.
Yeah. So she's like, what's going on? He's like, it's nothing, sweetheart. And he's just watching TV as the Joker's staring at the camera, laughing.
Yeah.
Gonna be some trauma here. Now, Terry is with Babs, Commissioner Gordon, who is not feeling this right now.
She also doesn't want to tell Terry anything about the Joker or why he might be back, how he could be back. Nobody's telling Terry shit, and I feel his frustration.
I mean, yeah, he's not getting information, and he kind of starts like shitting on the Joker. He's like, he's not like a real problem. Like... He's a fucking clown. And Barbara is just like, fucking shut your mouth.
Right, like, because they have more than, presumably, like the archives or whatever Terry is reading about Bruce's old foes, they presumably have more than just the Joker's photographs. Like, I'm sure they probably have, I don't know, written accounts of the things that he did. So right? It's like, maybe this dude was like a terrorist.
Yeah, this dude, he was the Bin Laden of the DC universe. Yeah, you're right. Like, he's fucking slippery as an eel.
Killed thousands of people, probably. Like,
yeah, like one of America's most mass murderers.
Yes.
And he's like, "What, this guy, fucking clown?"
There would be so many Netflix documentaries about the Joker. Oh. Like, there's no way Terry wouldn't know who he was.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, did they wipe him? Did
maybe,
they like wipe him off of the database? Yeah. Just like nah. Because and Barbara's just like, he was unlike anyone you have ever faced, and I seriously hope you never do.
Although that Ink chick was pretty badass.
I mean, yeah,
not gonna lie.
Ink was dangerous in that she has a cool power.
Yeah. And also doesn't give a fig about murdering anyone, including her own daughter.
Yeah, but she's not a mass murderer with no actual motivation.
Yeah, that's true. Like Ink is very much a person. It's like, well, she kills people who she's paid to kill, which is
Ink is a tool. Joker's a force of nature.
Yeah,
and that's
fair.
kind of important to understand, I guess. So then Terry's gonna leave, and we see the guy who has the next appointment walk by, and it's the guy that we just saw.
Yeah, Tim Drake.
So in the Batcave, Bruce is doing computer stuff, and he's just studying to be like, Joker's deceased, right? Because it says Joker deceased.
Right.
Okay.
He looks up his own files to make sure he remembered correctly.
Yeah, right.
To make sure he wasn't having a senior moment when Joker showed up.
Yeah, right.
And then he matches their voice recordings, and they're an identical match. So he starts to brew up some more of his Joker toxin antidote, where I kind of went back and forth on that, because I was like, well, on the one hand, I would always keep some of that handy, but on the other hand, if you haven't heard hide nor hair of Joker or any Smilex shenanigans for 4 decades, yeah, I'd probably put it in storage somewhere.
We're gonna find out his heart was impaled too, which is gonna be that's gonna be a huge for. And and we're also going to find out that they literally buried his body under Arkham Asylum. As it was dead.
That doesn't mean that some other Yahoo couldn't get Smilex, but sure. I get it. I like I said, I went back and forth, and then I ultimately decided, you know what, I probably would have put the Smilex antidote in storage too, because it's I'm not using it.
I don't know if it has a 40-year shelf life.
That's true. Yeah,
he was probably just when the batch finally died out, he was like, well, I'll make more if I need to make more.
Yeah. So his computer research was enough to be like, well, I should probably make some more of this right away.
Deceased, but I saw the dude. He kicked me.
He did. He kicked me right in the face.
Terry shows back up, and he's just like, hey, he's watching an old recording. He's actually watching, remember the Christmas episode of the Batman and Robin adventures where the Joker legitimately kills a bunch of people?
Vaguely.
It was the first one. It's the first time we see the Joker as a skeleton man instead of a clown.
Vaguely, yeah. I do sort of remember that. I know we covered it.
It's the first episode of the New Adventures of Batman and Robin.
Is it the one with the train and shit?
Yeah, it's I think it's a 3-parter or something like that. His was the New Year murder, where he's gonna gas everybody at Times Square, basically.
Oh, sure.
They reanimated that to match sort of the current Joker aesthetic, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that scene, and the voice comparisons are identical to the new and the old. And Terry's like, "Hey, how come you've never mentioned this Joker character? You've literally brought up everybody. I know way more about the ventriloquist, super sad, by the way, than I ever wanted to."
You told me Joker. You told me what he smells like.
Yeah,
you haven't told me anything about Joker.
Yeah, and how could he possibly be alive? And Bruce is like, "It's not. He died years ago, and I watched that shit happen." And oh geez, he must have been planning a crime so heinous that you were left with no choice but to kill him. And Bruce is like, I ain't answering that, but
yeah, sure, let's go with that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't give a shit. Give me your fucking batsuit back. You cashed in your father's death. Why are you doing this anymore? Give it back. Thank you for upholding my rep. But I don't want to force this life on you, so give it back. Terry's like, no.
Yeah. And then he goes into this monologue about what being Batman meant for him, and it wasn't just avenging his father's death. He was like, I had to prove that I was a worthwhile human being because I was kind of a punk when I was a kid. I broke a lot of laws. I wound up in juvie, and he basically is being Batman is how I buy back my humanity for my own conscience. And at the end of that, Bruce basically tells him that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, well, he goes, the state says my 3 months in juvie wiped my slate clean, but my soul says something different.
Yeah.
And Bruce is like, I've heard you. You're a stupid kid, and you don't know what you want. None of you ever did.
Yeah, none of you ever did. It's holy shit, Bruce.
And Terry's like, well, how about fuck you then.
Yeah.
Way to stick to your guns, Terry. So they break up. Next morning, Terry's having breakfast, and his little shit brother Matthew is glaring at him.
Yeah,
And
they
yells,
made Matthew look slightly more human in this movie.
Yeah,
only slightly.
Which I don't like.
Yeah, make him look like a little beady-eyed alien.
Ghoul.
Yeah,
little nightmare ghoul. So he goes, Mom, quick, some weirdo broke into our house. And he's like, and she's like, what are you doing here? He's like, I no longer work for Mr. Wayne. And Matt is continuing to be a real piece of shit to Terry, and he should have let Stalker kill him.
He really should have. Yeah, let fake Craven murder that kid because he sucks.
Yeah,
he'd be in a bird cage to this day. He'd be not but tiny bones in a bird cage.
Not but a tiny little bone example. Just a little specimen. And this was a child that I kidnapped.
That I tracked down in the wilds of Gotham City.
The most dangerous game is 7-year-old. So then later it's that night, and we see Dana, and oh boy, we get
Chelsea. We saw Blade earlier too. Blade was at the club in the earlier club scene.
But Chelsea shows up, drops a little bit of chaos, and that's all we need.
Perfectly on brand for Chelsea.
Because Chelsea is trying to persuade Dana to basically break up with Terry and find someone new.
Somebody should, because Terry is a terrible boyfriend.
Absolutely.
He doesn't have any time for himself, let alone a relationship. So, just,
He does now, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, now that he's been dogged out by his mentor.
Yeah, because Terry shows up and goes, not a chance, which he's really cool about Chelsea trying to break him and Dana up. He's like, no can do, Chelsea. Nice try, you little scamp.
Well,
and then she probably went off to go just randomly drug people's drinks for no reason.
Yeah, again, like the Joker, Chelsea is a force of nature, so you can't be angry at the wind.
No. That's who they should have put after the Joker.
Yeah, to put Chelsea on the case. Yeah.
How can I handle this? I cannot cage this woman, this nightmare.
It'd be like trying to lasso the sun so that it might always be summer.
Chelsea. It was good that we snuck Chelsea. Rachel Lee Cook, by the way, reprising her role as Chelsea.
Yeah, for only 4 or 5 lines.
To show up, drop some chaos, and then leave.
And then leaves. Yeah, just drop a grenade on the floor and walk out.
And he basically explains to Dana that he doesn't have a job anymore, and while money's about to be tight, they're certainly going to spend more time together. And she's like, I can handle that. Which, she's so ride or die, man.
She is really into Terry. For better or worse. So,
he's hot. Very important.
He is. Yeah, he's cool. He's got that edge to him because he went to juvie. He's a little dangerous.
He'll try to leg sweep a hyena werewolf at you at some point in time. That's a good guy to have in your. I don't know if you saw him, but one time he scaled a 40-foot wall.
Yeah, he climbed right up like an art installation in this very nightclub.
He sure did.
Or actually, he's about to. You'll notice, the leg sweep seems to be just his opening move. Because when the DDs show up, he throws the leg sweep on them too, I think.
It's good. You get him on the ground and pound,
It's a good move.
It's a good way to do this.
That's why Kreese told Johnny to sweep fucking Daniel's leg, in addition to wrecking his injured leg. But anyway.
So Terry and Dana are dancing, and these two hot twins drag Terry away from Dana, and they're like, "Can we cut in?" And then Ghoul shows up in in his outfit. Right,
the DDs are disguised. Ghoul is still just dressed like the Scarecrow.
Yeah, he sure is. But if the Scarecrow had a Halloween costume, he's dressed if his outfit is if Ben Cooper made a Scarecrow costume.
Exactly.
So Ghoul tries to kidnap Dana.
Sorry, it's like Scarecrow if Scarecrow was a TikTok dancer.
Right. Yeah, he definitely. He looks like if you put him in the David S. Pumpkins thing, you'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. So it's funny because Gould tries to get a hold of Dana, doesn't do well. to the point where he gets so frustrated that he just shoves her off of a fucking floor.
Ghoul is the worst person at his various tasks of the gang, I think.
I will say he is 100% been red-pilled.
And yet he seems to kind of be their leader outside of the Joker, and it's like, he's terrible at everything.
Well, he's clearly the brains. He's the tech guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Like he's the guy that when it comes to like doing tech shit, he's the guy. So I guess it makes sense, but at the same time, he cannot handle a punch to the gut.
No, they should put Chucko or the Dee-Dees in charge.
Yeah. So Terry breaks away from the girls and looks for Dana, but surprise, they're the Dee-Dees. Now, meanwhile, Bruce is creating the Joker Venom antidote, and Ace starts losing his mind, and Bruce is like, "What's going on, Ace?" Bruce really does have a senior moment because you hear Ace get beat. You hear him do the like, "Brr."
Yep.
And then he goes to check him out, but like Bruce just watches like a gas bomb drop, and he just stares at it like, "Oh, what could this be?"
Yeah. And it's not until it rolls into view with a smiley face painted on it that he's like, "Oh, shit, that's right."
Oh, shit. That thing that hurt my dog and dropped a bomb down here is harmful.
Yeah. Bruce isn't having a good couple of days.
No. Hello, Batman. Now, meanwhile, it cuts back to the nightclub. Terry still looking for Dana when the Jokers come out. Chucko is like, "I don't know why they sent us to take out some squib like you, but hey, it seems like it'll be fun." It's not fun for them.
No, but God bless Chucko. He doesn't ask no questions, man.
No.
You give him a task, he is going to execute it.
If Bonk paid attention to Chucko, his Bonk would still be with us.
Yeah.
Chucko's like, "I do what I do, man."
Bonk's family wouldn't be paying for a service right now, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, right. Bonk's family wouldn't be broken.
It's going to be a quiet Christmas at the Bonk household this year.
Little baby Bonks. With no big Bonk to help.
Oh.
Now, Terry's fighting his way towards Dana. She breaks free from Ghoul, and she's like, "Help!" And Ghoul grabs her by the fucking hair and throws her into like a big hanging light fixture. And Terry catches her in midair before she falls and breaks her neck.
Yeah.
And she's unconscious, like massively concussed. He gets Dana to Chelsea, who I'm legitimately surprised has not joined the Jokers by now.
They're scared of her. They're steering clear.
Yeah. "I would like to join you." No, man.
She's the only one not running in fear from this whole fiasco.
She's walking towards it.
I was going to say, Chelsea runs toward the fire.
Yep, she does, because she lit the fire.
Yeah.
So then then Terry beats Ghoul lifeless.
He really does. He turns him into a ghoul. Like, he beats him so hard his spirit leaves him.
Ghoul 100% shits his pants during this scene.
It's one of the... I said this like in a previous episode where he foot sweeps a guy into the side of a building. I'm like, that is low-key one of the worst things Terry's ever done to somebody. In this sequence, Terry pummels Ghoul so badly that he crumples into himself. And it's like the worst I think I've ever seen someone collapse in a Dini vs. Batman cartoon. It's just completely just rubber-legged, collapses in on himself. It's like that guy got his ass beaten off of his body.
Correctly.
Yeah.
It's for the best, because Ghoul being on the streets is not good.
No, he needs to be off the streets.
He's the worst member of this team.
He is, in every conceivable way.
He's just like, "I'm going to beat this lady." And it's like, no, you're not. Not anymore. Not when you can't lift your arms. Then he washes the Jokers out of the club by climbing up onto a lava lamp and kicking it off.
Yeah.
And this floor, that's when you really see the floor plan, and it is fucking wild. It's like a Mega Man level.
I know, it's what. God bless future Gotham.
So it's such a nightmare.
There's so many buildings and like just casual day-to-day businesses that have huge fixtures dangling above where customers will be.
They sure do.
Like in the clothing
Yeah.
store, there's inexplicably a plane. Or no, it was a car.
It was a car.
It was a car.
It was like a 1957 Ford Fairlane.
Yeah.
Like a big steel car.
In a Gap. Like,
like you have. So then Terry is like, Chelsea, stay with her. I'm gonna go check on Mr. Wayne, and because he's like, they absolutely, if they're attacking Terry, they're attacking Bruce.
well, he doesn't figure that out right away. He's like,
No,
he races towards him, and then he makes a phone call. He's like, Bruce, you really got to come clean with me. Like, they came for me, not for Batman, for Terry. So you got to tell me some shit. And then he realizes, oh, wait, I'm leaving Bruce a message. Where does he go at night?
yeah, where are you? So he heads back. Bruce, because something bad must be happening. He shows up and sees that the Batcave is super vandalized. Ha is written all over the place. And weirdly, this is another one of the edits because it's written in red.
Yeah.
And in the edit, they wrote it in purple.
Oh, they maybe thought red was too much like blood.
Yeah. Because also remember, it looks a lot like when he found his dead father.
I didn't remember that. That's a good point.
Remember all the ha's all over the room.
Yeah, that's true. I had forgotten about that.
He checks Ace's pulse like he's a fucking dog doctor, which he isn't.
No.
And then he sees the ha's, and then he finds fucking
Bruce is collapsed on the on the Bat computer, and he rolls Bruce over, and Bruce has got the Smilex grin.
Yeah. And he's like dying, and he's laughing himself to death, and he's just trying to say like under table.
It's like,
and then Terry realizes that it's the anti-venom.
It's really kind of scary.
Yes. No, this is a bone-chilling movie.
It's not. Whew.
Yeah, it's not for kids.
It was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah. I was like, damn, this movie's going hard.
Yeah, so Terry basically saves Bruce, and Bruce falls unconscious.
Yeah, Bruce is out of the picture for like the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Because he got his ass gassed off.
So now, for the rest of the movie, we're going to see Barbara taking sort of the place of Bruce. Bruce, and she's basically taking care of him, and she's taking care of that. And Terry checks on Ace, who's watching an old Bugs Bunny cartoon, the one about how like the dog thinks he killed bugs.
It's also a real grim Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Yes, which I believe they even edited the sound of it too, because I think it says he wants to die.
Yeah, the dog keeps it's if you guys remember it, or if you've never seen it, it's a gag Bugs would pull every once in a while by tricking whoever was chasing him into thinking that he's actually dead. So in this cartoon, he's being chased by this dog, and he's put himself in a giant sandwich, which is, on its face ridiculous, but the dog is inconsolable, and you hear him wailing in the background. Like, I wish I were dead. I wish I was dead. Like, he keeps repeating it to the point where you hear Bugs, like, give up the gag. He's like, nah, it's all right, Doc. I'm not dead.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Like, even Bugs Bunny thought that went a little too far.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like when a prank goes to, like when you accidentally hurt your brother.
Yeah.
And you're like, don't tell Mom. On the news, Jordan Price is talking about Bruce's injury. We received a call from Mr. Wayne's houseboy this morning.
His houseboy.
Saying he'd taken a bad fall. Everyone at the Wayne Enterprises family sends our prayers to our senior member and hope for a speedy recovery. And Terry is like, I fucking demand answers.
Yeah.
I'm in this now. My girlfriend's in the fucking hospital. Barbara starts being dodgy as fuck, and she finally gives in, and she's like, all right, well, I thought time would make this easier, but it hasn't, and is about to tell Terry the true story of what happened.
Yeah.
And that, Tom, is a sode.
Oh, man, that is a sode.
That is a sode.
Man,
we're gonna
look
talk
at the
about
time.
I know. It just moved so smoothly.
Yeah, man, you guys... Now I'm doing the Michael Rosenbaum thing. You guys, if you want to hear part 2, you're going to have to head over to the Patreon. You'll have to head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed and become a patron to get part 2 of this episode, and also every other episode we've ever done, which is, I don't know, in the millions now. We've been doing this since the 80s, I think.
Yeah. We sure have.
At least since Jimmy Carter was president. So, you know.
I sure am a fan of that Tom and Jeff Watch Batman.
So check that out. We got, other cool exclusive shows on the Patreon, like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and Spiel Boys. And those last two are joint podcasts we do with our sister network, Small Beans. We also do movie nights with our patrons. You guys should check it out. There's a lot of stuff to do there, in addition to just going through the enormous catalog of Tom and Jeff Watch Batman episodes. Yeah. Now, Jeff, you tell them stuff.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but I have cool friends. It's a thing I do. And I actually have a show called Jeff Has Cool Friends. You can hear it for free anywhere, but if you want it a week early, uncensored, with bonus content, you can head on over to patreon.com/JeffMay, where you can hear that as well as other shows like Ugh, Fine, a monthly show I do with Kim Krall, as well as more shows like Radvertising that are coming along. You can check that out again, patreon.com/JeffMay. Don't forget to check out Unpopular Opinion and You Don't Even Like Sports, a sports podcast for people who don't like sports, and that is on the Unpops network as well. Lots of other stuff. You can find us on social media. Like us, love us, give us your adulation. Adoration? Both?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. Okay.
Yeah.
That's enough. We can be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for listening. We love you.
Oh, yeah, indeed. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Ghoul, my boy, we're going to need another system scanner. Who's got one they'd be willing to donate?
Checking. What we're after is cutting edge. These are the only other places we'd find one.
Our artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at Justin T. Brown and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info.